This
couple of questions.
conference will now be recorded.
Yeah, the first question, as we are, the auto scaling, we are mentioning, the base two instances, right? Based on the instance, how the scale out and scale down, we are giving right the minimum and maximum value based on the thresholds. For example, if we are the CPU utilization is going more than 70%, we are giving two instances, right, to be increased. So, for example, this is a normal scenario. So, if whenever the peak load, if we take as in Hotstar or Netflix, the load will be keep on increasing. Anyway, they will be testing, the load test before, to adding the number. So, some situations, right? So they are not able to. So maybe due to some, the as per the predictions is going behind that the prediction level. So in this case, is there any other option from the from the auto scaling level, like going beyond that, what the threshold we have selected, the auto scaling has to be enabled automatically to based on the load. Maybe is extra required to four instances or five instances like that.
That is comes into the category of step level scaling actually, but max value you cannot change. So rather than going with every time, every iteration increasing the two instances, right? So you can use the step level scaling actually. So with the help of step level scaling, you can predict, right? You can increase the respective EC2 instances, right? Every time, every iteration equal to two instances, rather than increasing the two instances, rather than scaling out in the two instances, you can increase, you can enable the step level scaling, you can enable every time you can enable 4 5 instances, step 1 2 instances, step 2 4 instances, step 3 6 instances, like that you can increase. But the max value you cannot going to be increase automatically, it will not going to be increase the max. The max value you guys need to decide.
Got it. So based on the environment, we have to set up whether we require
You need to set up actually. You need to. So you need to go with the step level scaling, or you need to go with the normal dynamic scaling, the one which I have showcased earlier.
Okay, got it. In the launch configuration, so you're mentioning that 50% on demand and 50% spot instances, right? So launch template we can mention that 50-50, but the launch configuration. So what kind of scenario we can use in the sense like what like how to mention
basically
that?
at this moment the current generation is launch template, but to make you guys understanding the difference between launch configuration and launch template, I have discussed both.
Okay, thank you.
So any other questions, guys? Okay, fine. So let's go with our today's strategy here. We'll discuss about the respective the launch template. So here you have been discussing, you have created up to the launch template, but you have not discussed about the enabling the auto scaling mechanism. So you have not increased the stress for this respective one, right? You have not did this respective stress testing. Let's see how the stress testing is going on. Later you can go with the right. Later you guys will go with the respective the mechanism of step level scaling. So now here you need to enter into the. So now here you need to enter into the Deva NSN. So the respective key you need to enter. So the PPK I need to convert here. Let me convert the PPK. So now here let's use this respective public key here to ensure that to connect to your respective machine. So now here I'm going to increase the stress here. Now here I'm going to increase the stress. So EC2 hyphen user is your respective stress and sudo hyphen I. So let me increase the stress command here to ensure that, right, whether you have been the LANs template which you have been increasing is working or not. So let me install EPEL, right, Enterprise Edition of Linux. So now here, let me install this respective binaries. So it will increase the stress. What is the percentage that you guys are given for this one respective auto scaling group? What is the percentage you guys are given here? So 50% of on demands and 50% of spot, right? So here you have been completely using a this is called spot feed actually. What is this called? Spot feed. So what does it do? So basically it will check the options of the instances actually, right? So it will check the options of the instances here. So in my case, I have given the instances like T2 nano, right? T2 nano and T2 micro and T2 medium, right? T2 medium. So first it will check the category of T2 nano, second it will going to check the category of T2 micro, and third it will going to check the category of T2 medium. So all these things is going to be checked here, right? Once it's going to be checked here, right, as soon as it will find out the respective instances, right, as soon as it's going to find out the respective instances, it will going to create those respective instances for this, right? This is how it's going to be happen. So now I have increased the load. So for a instance of right 70%, I have increased the load. So you have been like using this respective activity. So meanwhile, let it increase because you already shown the respective practical. So how it going to be verified here, right? You have an instance management. One instance is going to be there. So by clicking off these instances, how come I came to know whether it's in spot instances or it's an on-demand instances? What is the category to verify it? Whether it's a spot instances, whether it's an on-demand instances. So go for the life cycle. Here, if the life cycle is in normal, then you need to consider as an on-demand. And if your life cycle is in spot, then you need to consider as an spot instances. Am I clear on this? If the respective
sorry, bro, can you come again?
If the respective life cycle here, right? If the respective life cycle comes with the normal, then you consider as an on-demand action. If the life cycle you guys are noticed as respective spot, you need to consider this one as an spot instances. Right? You guys need to consider as an spot instances here. So this is how it's going to be work towards the respective spot as well as on-demand. If it is a life cycle equal to normal, then you need to consider as an on-demand here. Life cycle equal to normal, then you need to consider as an on-demand instances. And the life cycle equal to, right, and the life cycle is equal to respective spot, then it's going to consider as an spot instances. Right, then it's going to be considered as a spot instance. This is how it's going to happen. So now here, So now here you have already increased the respective the CPU utilization, right? It has been increased to 44.6%. Let it increase up to 70%. It's going to automatically trigger the respective, right? It automatically going to trigger the respective instances. So meanwhile, let's configure the step level scaling to make you guys to understand. So for that, I'm using the existing Lance template because I already created the Lance template here. So now here I would like to name this one as an step level scaling -ASC, right? Step level scaling -ASC. So I'm using the production Lance template here, the one which I have created earlier, right? So now here, let me select the availability zones. 3 availability zones. Let me select the availability zones. 3 availability zones here. Manually add the instances here. So T2 micron. So let me give the option as 1, option as 2, option as 3. Right, option as 1, option as 2, and option as 3. So instance purchase options, let it give for the 50-50%, 50% of on demand and 50% of spot. Right, instance purchase options here. 50% of on demand, or remove this. Yeah, you need to use the priority wise and then capacity optimization and capacity rebalance here. Click on next, the strategies, and attach to the existing load balancer. You can use the strategy of the respective. Let's consider the Google one, or let's consider the default one itself. Or you can use the respective, create a new one, let it create and let it edit again once again. Let it create a new load balancer to avoid the confusion, right? And let it edit this one. So reserved is 1, minimum is 1, and the maximum is 10. We can use, right? Reserved is 1, minimum is 1, and maximum is 10. Click on next here, add a notifications to the respective DevOps group. A name equal to step level scaling. Name equal to step level scaling. Click on next here and create a auto scaling group. Step level scaling and create a auto scaling group here. Right, create a auto scaling group here. So now here, let me create a load balancer and let me edit this respective step level scaling here once again, the auto scaling. So create a load balancer. So create a load balancer here. Create an application load balancer and use the step level scaling LB, internet facing one. And this is the availability for your respective, right? This is the availability for the respective load balancer here. So just I'm creating the default target group for the step level. -default, step level -default. And the health checks is going to be index.html. 2 instances in the healthy thresholds and the success score 200 to 399. So I'm not adding any instances, step level scaling instances also I'm not adding. So let it add automatically through auto scaling group. So here I'm using the step level -default as my target group. So create a load balancer here. So now here, let's go ahead for the auto scaling group. Let it edit here. Here, edit the load balancer here. Attach application load balancer here. And use the step level, the default. Am I clear as of now? Any questions, any doubts? Am I clear? So can you use the load balancer for the different? No, it is not possible actually. Region itself is an isolation actually. By default, regions are isolated with each other. You cannot use actually, you cannot share the load balancer. So now here you are using and create a dynamic auto scaling. Here you are using a step level scaling here. Right here using a step level scale. So now here to make you guys understand here, let me create one more. One more the CloudWatch alarm. Let me create one more CloudWatch alarm. Go for the services. Go for the respective CloudWatch. So create an alarm here, select the metrics. So create a EC2 instances here, then by auto scaling. Right here, you need to use the step level here over the respective CPU utilization. Step level here over the CPU utilization. Select the utilization here. So now here on the benefit of time, I'm going to give the 1 minute, but in real time environment, going to take for 5 minutes. So here I'm going to be used previously. What is the percentage where I have used this, where I have created this respective one? What is the percentage I have created with this?
70%.
Previously, 70%. Right. So now here I'm going to use the 90% actually, or 85%. 95% is too, it's not that aggressive actually, right? 95% is not that aggressive. So that's why I'm using the 85% as an aggressive nature. So now here, this is called one data point. So as soon as it got reached to the 85%. So in alarm, the status is in alarm and select the existing, the SNS topic to get the notified. Right, to get the notification here to your respective SMS topic. So now here I need this one actually. Enable this respective alarm name is called high CPU utilization. Right, high CPU utilization. I don't think so. iPhone is work or not. Step level scaling, high CPU utilization. Click on next. Right, high CPU utilization. The step level scaling is going to create alarm here. So now here you need to understand this respective step level scaling here, right? The firstly I'm going to use the 70%, and second thing I'm going to use the 85%. right? And the second thing, I'm going to use the 85% here. So now what you guys going to do, you're going to write a logic here. Listen carefully, this is an interview question. When you guys are going to be use this respect to step level scaling, listen carefully. So now here on the step one equal to step equal to 1 equal to, whenever the CPU utilization is greater than, right, whenever the CPU utilization is greater than 70%, right, whenever the CPU utilization is greater than 70%, it will going to be add 2 instances. So it will going to add 2 instances here. So it will going to be add 2 instances here. So under the step 2, whenever the CPU percentage is greater than 90%, sorry, in my case it's a 85%. On the step 2, whenever the CPU utilization is greater than 85%, so you need to add 4 instances. So this is the step 1. So it will cleanly monitor the respective 70% here, and it will going to be reached to the 70%. It's going to reach to the 2 instances, and whenever it's an 85%, it's going to reach to the 4 instances. Like this is how it's going to be happen. So this is how it's going to be happen here. So now here you need to understand the step level scaling here. So 70% it will add 2 instances, 85% it will add 4 instances. Now here you need to understand here. So now here you need to understand here. So to configure this step, so go for the respective auto scaling group, create a dynamic scaling, go for the step level scaling. So the step one, so it's going to be having the high CPU greater than 70%, add the 2 instances. So step 2, right? Step 2, greater than 70% here. So step 2, whenever the CPU utilization is add 4 instances here. Whenever the CPU button is greater than 85%, add 4 instances. So this is how it's going to be there. This is how it's going to be there. CPU is percentage greater than 70%, add 2 instances, and the CPU percentage greater than 85%, add 4 instances. Like that, you can add the steps actually. For every warm up, I've been waiting for the 300 seconds actually, right? For every warm up, I've been using the 300 seconds here. So that's how the logic are going to be worked here. But removing wise, you cannot do that aggressive in nature. So removing, that means scaling of the instances. Scale out you can do aggressively, but scaling you cannot do that aggressive nature. Step level scaling is not going to be helpful in the removing the instances. So we need to go with the right simple scaling only. Average is going to check. Yes, Avinash, it will check the average actually. It will not going to compare only one instance. If let's say suppose in a pool of instances I have 4 instances. One of the instances is reached to the 85%, but remaining are into 60, 60, 60. It will take the average 60, 60 plus 85, and by divided by 4, what is the average value going to get? If it is greater than 70, it will add 2 instances. If it is greater than 85, it will add 4 instances. If any one of the instances is going to be there, only for the 85%, it will not going to be append any of the resources actually. It will take the average at all the time. Good question actually.
Shanmugh, I have one question. So, as you told, right, if you reach a 70% or 70%, it will add two instances. So, if you add the two instances, obviously the it will reach into the threshold level or something less than threshold level. So, so again the loads keep on increasing again. So once again it go to 70%, again the two instances will create, right? So what criteria that 85 comes here? Because whenever it reaching 70%, it adding two instances, right? So again, once you add the two instances, the threshold will come down.
Yeah, that's how. But still, if you, even though you have add the respective instances, the threshold at some particular point of time, it will go for the 85%. But this is very rare case actually. So even though I'm adding the two instances, every time I'm adding the two instances, right? As you said, is true. It might not be reached to the more than 85%. It will balance to the 70%. It will not going to reach to the step 2. But in very few cases, right, it's going to be add the respective scenario.
Okay.
Right? Am I clear on this? Any questions? Any doubts? So now here, what you guys are going to do? You guys are going to do only the respective CPU in the real-time environment, or you guys are going to do any kind of other values here? Other category of the metrics. Disk memory, chips usage. LAN connectivity. Network in, network out. Exactly. Network in actually. Chip size doesn't matter for me because it's a Java related one. So obviously I am looking for the hardware actually. I'm looking for the hardware. I'm not looking for the specific microservices. The service which is running in my hardware. I least bother about it. Only the network in and network out. Or few times you guys are going to be use memory actually. If your instance is using, if your application is an, right, if your application is an memory hungry. So you can take the metrics only for the respective network in, how many network connectivity is going to be there. That is called number of connections actually. Metrics under consideration for the scaling actually. Under consideration for the scaling actually. What you guys are going to do is, so number of hits, number of concurrent hits. This may take one factor. And second thing is memory actually. If your application is in memory hungry, right? Memory usage here. Disk IVOPS, see, for me, there are two kind of applications actually. One is stateless and stateful sets actually, right? Stateless application does not going to be required any kind of disk usage actually, right? You need to manually increase the disk. Disk is not going to be comes under the consideration here, because stateless application is not going to store any kind of data under your respective EC2 instances. Stateless application. Stateless application is not going to store any data. So any data under EBS volume, under EBS volume here. So whereas stateful applications will use database to store the info, actually, whatever the data is going to be stored. So coming to the stateless application, you may ask, Shanmugh, what about logs? My application is keeps on generating the logs, right? My application is keeps on generating the logs actually. So these logs are going to be pushed to your respective S3 bucket. The logs are going to push to your respective logs are pushed to the respective S3 bucket, periodically actually. Right, logs are going to push to your respective S3 bucket periodically. So there is no issue with your respective disk in your respective real-time environment. Right, that's how this is going to be used actually. Right, these are the factors under consideration. So only you guys are going to be hit to the number of your respective number of memory or network in or network out, which is nothing but throughput, number of hits, right? Or else you guys are going to use the respective CPU. Mostly in the real-time environment, they will scale via CPU actually, right? They will scale via CPU actually. But while performing the performance test actually, they will come up with the assumptions actually. Okay, let's say suppose 15 million hits. These are the microservices, right? You no need to scale entire environment actually. Specific microservices you need to scale, right? These are microservices. For example, people are hitting continuously the mobile applications, right? In the respective whole page, people are only working on the clothing actually. Let's say suppose in the Amazon.in, the customers are purchasing heavily over the mobile phones. There is a discount on the mobile phones. Only the specific microservices will going to hit actually. The throughput is going to be increased. They will not going to be increase all the customer service, electronics, books, prime, fashion, new releases, home and kitchen, Amazon Pay, computers, right? They're not going to increase each and every microservices based upon the respective, right? Based upon the respective utilization of the throughput of the respective customer, they will going to increase it, right? They will going to increase it. Am I clear on this? That is one main important thing that you guys need to understand. So, and the second thing here is, so what is called prediction actually? What is the meaning of prediction? What is the meaning of prediction? What is the meaning of prediction actually?
Estimating, guessing the things.
Right. So forecasting something. So whatever it's going to happen. Let's consider the scenario. There is a concept called predictive auto scaling actually. So basically, anyone invested in the stock market? Huh? Right. Most of the people, right? So how the market predictions are going to be happen? So what is the how the market prediction? What is the value of the stock? Whether it's going to increase or decrease? Under what circumstances they're going to be, right? They're going to be decide the market value. So what is the scenario over there? See, coming to this, they will have an respective every quarter they're going to release the profit and losses, right? The company is going to be receive the profit and losses. Based upon that, the market the market analyst will going to be showcase the might be the stock is going to be increased in the coming 3 quarters. This stock is going to be increased from $10 to $15, right? Similar in the predictive auto scaling as well. So they will predict actually. So coming next festival season, based upon, right, coming to the next festival sale, based upon the analysis from past 6 months, your traffic may hit up to 10K concurrent users per second, per minute. They will going to give these respective predictions actually by using an artificial intelligence or the respective machine learning applications here. They will use this respective thing, the predictive auto scaling. So for that, you require the client base. How many subscriptions are there? How many active subscriptions? What is the repeated purchase of your respective customers? Under what cases these customers are purchasing the products in your respective e-commerce website? They will take all these factors under the consideration, and they will going to be provide you an estimation. Okay, 10K concurrent users per minute will going to be hit on coming festival sale of February 28 to March 3rd. They will give the predictions. So based upon that respective predictions, this auto scaling is going to be trigger actually on the specific point of time. But however, that is not going to be required. But this is also one option. This is also one option is there in your respective AWS, right? So these many auto scaling mechanisms are there. So step level scaling, and you have the respective, right, step level scaling, and you have an respective simple scaling policy based upon your respective CPU utilization. So am I clear on this? The auto scaling scenario by using a LANS configuration and LANS template. Right? Any questions, any doubts here? So this is very important, guys. So most of the time, right, you guys are working over the load balancers, you guys are working over the respective target groups, and you guys are working over the respective, right, auto scaling groups, right? All these areas you guys are going to be works towards the, right, all these areas you guys are going to work towards the respective auto scaling groups. So this is very important, and in interview also they will ask you how many types of respective auto scaling groups are there. So what is the policies you guys are using, under what circumstances you guys are increasing the respective instances, right? So have you tried configuring the step level scaling? Have you tried configuring the respective simple scaling? Have you tried configuring the attaching the respective target groups, right? So where you guys are going to be analyze the respective logs, right? If suppose the instances is not attached to your respective target group properly, right? All these things they're going to be discussing this. So I forgot to say discuss one thing, the scaling protection actually. If suppose in these instances, let's say suppose I have 10 instances in the flow, right? Let's say suppose I have 10 instances in the flow. So I required only one of the instances not to applicable for the scaling policy. What is the meaning of scaling actually? What does it do? Scaling here, it will remove the instances. So I don't want auto scaling need to be remove my instances here, right? I don't want auto scaling to remove my respect to one of the instances. Then I'm going to be protect these instances from scaling. So these specific instances is not going to be removed by your respective auto scaling, right? This respective instances is not going to be removed from the auto scaling here. So this is how it's going to be happen, right? This is how it's going to happen here. Am I clear? Any questions, any doubts? So this is how the step level scaling and the scaling protection will going to be helpful for you in a real time. Most of the questions, so whatever is needed here in the interview perspective are already covered, but you guys need to go ahead and complete this respective practical by before Friday. So let's consider the proactive assignment for you. So assignment number 3. So only 3 people are submitted the assignment number 2, right? Pramod, Jiva, and Shweta today submitted. What about rest? Almost you have an 18 to 19 people joining in the class. Actually, only 3 people are very active. So create a step level scaling on the first step, the step 1. So when the CPU utilization, right, when the CPU utilization is greater than 70%, and step 2, when the CPU utilization is greater than 85%. It's greater than 85%. So that is one thing. 2 things you guys need to create here. 2 things you guys need to create here. Right. So now here you guys are entering into the. Am I clear as of now? Any questions you would like to ask me in this respect to step level scale? Am I clear, guys? Yeah, go ahead.
Actually, when we are trying to auto scale, there is on-demand instances are coming into the but when on a ongoing purpose, on-demand I mean minimum of the one instances become the two instances. So now can we convert that to the result instances?
So okay, this is a good question actually. So now let's consider the scenario what Pramod is asking is a valid one. So let's consider the scenario you have 10 instances which are already popped up because of your scaling factors, and here you have 5 instances which are there over the on demand and 5 instances which are there on spot. You have given the 50%. Let's say suppose you have given the 50% of on demand and 50% of spot here. You have given this one. Let's consider that scenario. So 50% of on demand and 50% of spot. So now here, if you already purchased the reserved instances with the same category of which going to be matches to the reserved instances, it should match that respective criteria. So that means what criteria it should match? What is our strategy of the reserved instances? What should it need to match here?
Same
It should
type.
match the AMI. It should match the respective instance type. It should match the availability zone. Sorry, it should match the region, and it should match your respective the instance type, either T2 micro or T2 medium. As soon as it's going to be matched, it will automatically convert to the reserved instances billing category. So let's say suppose you are using only for 1 hour because of the popped up of your respective resources, because of your high CPU. It will only match to the specific circumstances and it will automatically convert. But it is not matching, it will not convert your billing, it will consider as an on demand. Only the thing is the matching criteria. Due to that, only for 1 hour or 3 hours, why should I need to give a commitment to the AWS for 36 months or 12 months or full upfront? So when you guys are into auto scaling, reserved category does not help much actually. Because auto scaling itself, you need to leverage the factor of pay as you go model. Whereas reserved instances, there should be in stable instances where I can use a long-term commitment, right? So due to that circumstances, you guys are going to be using the respective on demand for your respective auto scaling. You got my point, everyone. So because it's only for the time being, right? Because of my high load, I'm increasing it. I'm not utilizing the instances for a long duration. So due to that, actually, you guys are not into a reserved instances for the respective auto scaling here.
Okay, so Pramod, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
So in this case, so there is no reserved instance. It should be always on
Yeah,
demand.
not required actually, because the factor is not meeting for me. So at any point of time, my load is not going to be equal to that specific instances here, right?
Mhm. So
So
one more
this is
question.
only a spike. This is only a spike for me.
Okay. Very good. So you always the on-demand instances. Somebody they want the instances. So obviously the on-demand they will delete, right? Like kind of building something we discussed it earlier. So how this work here?
Sorry, on demand.
No, how to say, like we earlier we discussed, right? Always, the on-demand instances, somebody, it should be going by a bidding and all. So someone will ask, so the on-demand instances will get terminated.
That is for spot, actually, not for
sorry, spot. Sorry, spot. So in this case, how would the scenario will match?
That's why you have an multiple instances options, right? Instance options. If suppose I am not giving only one instances here. If you observe that I'm giving the multiple instances options, the weightage wise. First it will check this one, then it will go with, then it will go with. So the probability, the prior is going to be high for me to get the respective spot instances. The probability of the respective spot instances I'm going to get very high. And it's going to, I'm using the capacity rebalance actually. Whenever there is the capacity is not enabled here, it will automatically going to be considered as an on-demand only. it will pop up the on-demand instances if the capacity is not available to make sure your application is running.
Okay.
So that is the reason I use the capacity optimize here based upon this respective thing. So yeah, if suppose a spot instance is not for me there in my pool, it will go with this approach.
Can we use the bidding price of the spot instances?
No, the bidding price you cannot predict here in this auto scaling method. It will by default, it will take the value of the bidding price, whatever allocated in the specific point of time, it will go for it. And you cannot mention in the maximum price reach as well in the auto scale.
Okay.
That is only for the static instances, the standalone instances. Right, guys? So the next one will going with the AWS databases mechanism here. Pretty important actually. The database will going to play a vital role here. So here you have in two types here. One is SQL. So which comes with the 6 engines, 6 database engines. The first one is with the MySQL, and the second one is an MS SQL, Aurora DB, Postgres SQL, right? Postgres SQL, Oracle DB, and one more thing you have an MariaDB. So this is the 6 database engines are going to be supported by the SQL. And coming to the not only SQL, you have a document DB, which is a similar kind of MongoDB here, document DB, which is a similar kind of MongoDB here. And you are using the one more, the main important AWS proprietary DynamoDB. So most of the people will go with the DynamoDB approach, right? So these are the two database engines and database mechanisms are there. So we'll discuss more briefly about this. So today you need to go ahead and have a glance around SQL versus NoSQL. What is structured query language and what is not only structured query language? What does it do? What is the basic fundamentals here? So what is the main difference between the SQL and not only SQL? So how does it works? Right? These things you guys need to verify here. Right? So we'll stop it here by today and we'll go with the next one. So how many of you guys are working on the real-time environment over the AWS already, who got the job and already who working on the AWS environment?
Mine is on-premise servers.
Me too on-prem, but AWS was there, but like we are not working that much. Just we are stopping and starting the instances. That's it.
Okay. Just check with your respective premises here. Okay, you have given direction. Yeah, just go for this respective. So what you need to do to get the 3-axis and 4-axis servers in the real time? Just change the health check actually. Okay, just change the health check. Yes, use some dummy one. Here the prefix part. And here in the advanced health check, remove this success score 200 to 399. You will get both 3-axis as well as 3-axis as well as 4-axis. Just give the dummy health check. It will go. If I give the dummy one, what is the error it will throw? If I give the dummy one, what is the error it will throw? It's going to throw in your HTTP code.
Forbidden error.
404 not found actually.
Not for.
Then you will get your 4-axis, right? In your CloudWatch metrics. Right? So that is one thing. So like
We
that
try
you
to
need to,
disable.
yeah, like that you need to take your respective health checks. That's why I discuss on the range while discussing on the load balancer. That's why I have discussed on the error course action. Okay. So like that you need to do. What about rest, guys? So everyone, every one of you guys are understanding very well, or you guys are not understanding anything. That's why, okay, let's skip this assignment. This guy is coming at 8 o'clock and up to 9 o'clock. This guy is giving grand and this guy is going actually. Why should I need to submit assignment like that? See, if you guys are attending for the like a specific instructor and you guys are paying for it, you should do some justification for that actually, for your time and your investing, whatever your investments. Otherwise, you can simply go with the Udemy and complete your course and get a certification actually. I never attended any kind of trainings in my life from past. I think I never. I used to go with like the Udemy lectures and the rural side, but never attended for the paid training. I don't remember when I attended in my 12 years of career actually. So yeah, the thing is, if you want to complete, if you want to learn, there is another way of like as the market is growing up, there are so many startups like Udemy, and you have one more thing called Pluralsight, Katakonda.com, Kcloud. There are so many things actually. Why you are coming to the Mithun Technologies to gain the something, right? Which is not there in the market. So that's why I'm trying to like focusing on more on the respective real time, what is not there in the Udemy and what is not there in the Kcloud and what is not there in the Pluralsight. That's why the people are right. When I announce the batch, at least I will get a batch people of 25 numbers or 20 to 25 plus numbers actually. And when you announce that respective DevOps batch, you will get more than 100 plus students. These 100 plus students, they can able to complete the course in the Udemy, or they can able to complete the course in other like training websites actually. But why these people are coming? You're going to discuss which is not there in that, right? That's why you are unique in the market. So try to understand, guys, whatever the assignment which I'm going to be request you guys, that is definitely helpful for your while entering into the real time. Okay, I did this. At that, they will ask you in the interview, they will ask you what kind of challenges you guys are faced while you are performing something, while you are creating some resources, while you are enabling the auto scaling. Without having practice, how can you guys are going to be explained in a very genuine manner? So that's why I ask you guys to complete the assignments, because while doing it, so now Sweta did it actually. Now Sweta did it. So Sweta, I'm unable to find 4-axis and 3-axis. So this kind of examples you can update to your respective interface. Okay, this while doing this, I'm facing this. This is my resolution. If you're not practicing at all, if you want to enter into your respective interviewer, you cannot face that interview questions actually. Interview questions more of your respective hands-on, not only for the AWS, everything. If you go for the Kubernetes, they will ask you, I want to deploy one pod in the specific node group. How can I do that? By using node affinity, by using pod affinity, by using the availability zones. And I want to enable the respective auto scaling over the pod level by using HPA. So when you practice only, you can discuss like this. When you are not practicing, you cannot discuss actually. See, I've been discussing this AWS from past 8 years. I started this AWS training on 2013 actually. So I see, because I haven't very familiar with the AWS console, I can do whatever I want. But if you ask me to discuss about Azure, I'm well familiar with Azure. but I may confuse actually because I know both the concepts actually. See, what I'm trying to say is try to submit it, try to learn the things, try to grasp as per you can, and let me know if you have any questions. So make it more effective, this respect to 40, 45 hours, whatever as per our schedule. So make it more effective so that you will learn more. That's all, only one request from mine. Right guys, that's all for today. We'll continue by tomorrow for the databases. We'll entering into the databases mechanism. Very quite interesting actually databases, right? We discuss things more effectively. Thank you.
Thank you.